I think as far as...
That's not the way it's been explained to me, and we've talked to the state.
Well,
on this.
in our comment
And so
that
I'm
we're not,
getting-
we can't save is, I guess my reason for thinking that is you've got continual things you have to keep fixing during that period of time, so to build
But
up.
if you, it's my understanding, and I could be wrong on this, because I didn't do, it was, another person in our committee was working on this, and then it's relayed to me, so I may have misunderstood, but when you have earmarked set plans, whether and it boils down to whether you're, oh gosh, I'll have to talk to you another time about
There's
that.
two things there. We can earmark and put into our building fund.
Right.
Okay, which we do. We got, I think, 300 and some thousand.
360 some, yeah.
If you had plans for a project, and it's been 10 years ago, if you could prove to the state you had plans to do something, you can exceed the lid and do that, but, you know, and do that project. But that really doesn't solve the problem. It still
Yeah.
goes on the property
Yeah.
tax, you know, it doesn't solve any problem there. You still gotta,
Well,
It's something to
and
say
we
if you're
can-
not repairing or maintaining, but if you're improving or something, or does that ring a bell?
the
We
building,
move on, I mean,
the
that's,
building fund is supposed to, is meant to, for acquisition of property, for new construction or capital construction, major projects,
okay.
okay?
Does heating and air conditioning fall under that?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay, okay.
Depends. You get, they tell us yes, Lincoln says no.
Okay,
I mean, Lincoln School District,
yeah,
their
okay.
interpretation is no. We've always interpreted you could, and nobody's ever stopped us, but
And there are some things that you can actually, the board could do a levy without voter approval for a smaller amount to do some stuff, but that, we've never wanted to
we
go
can
that direction.
We can go 5.2 cents a year
Mhm, I've read that.
above the levy limit for safety, for heating, air conditioning, for, you know, specific things. But again,
Piece of brick caving in.
it's still
Above the levy.
addition, it's
yeah.
above the levy.
And you're
so
still
it's
gonna pay for it.
tax
The money-
Basically,
yeah,
a
it's
small
definitely
bond
tax.
without voter approval
Yeah,
is
right,
what
I
it
understand.
really
I
amounts
understand.
to. And
My
I think-
point was, for the, like the elementary and what we know is coming, what we know we have to, keep socking the money away. As you can get out of a budget, we're all in a budget, we all know that. We know you are too. And especially with the state aid, it's hard to manage that. But,
Well, I
that-
think with,
it can
you
be
know,
done.
we've focused on this building because it's the one that's in the
In
most
di-
need.
yeah.
The things in the elementary can be done in a little smaller levels, and I think, I guess, at least speak for myself, that's the direction that I would want to go. I don't think any of us want to try and push another major project through anytime soon. I think would be our preference as well. Now, you never know what the state's gonna do with, you know, like Max said, we've got some money in the building fund right now. If our state aid would just get hammered, you know, we
Yeah.
might not be able to do that, but that's the whole, I guess, that we could continue to do what you're saying.
And one thing, if we get the renovation done here, our repair costs shouldn't be so much
Mhm.
for a while to where we could put more towards the
It's
elementary.
possible, you know, we might be able to cut back on the money we put in that building fund a little bit and lower, which would then make the total bill cheaper, rather than, you know, say $1.05 plus $1.25, we might get it down to a total of $1.20 or something through that way, but it just depends on state aid and
Yeah, that's a minute.
But Governor says the teachers need more money.
I read that today. They're not very happy with him either, are they?
We
school
are
district.
Yeah, that's
happy
the
with it.
school board and the teachers are, not the
Teachers
school
probably
board
like it. That's
association.
what's wrong with
We're at $1.05.
Well,
It would be about $1.25.
it would be 20 cents on
Yeah.
It'd be a very rough estimate.
Yeah, that's
They
it.
were talking 19 cents, 19.
If we stayed at $1.05, it'd be $1.20.
If this bond fails, what's plan B? Because you're running out of time,
Start patching best we can and try to get by, I guess.
but you're running out of time on the,
Right. We've got problems. We got severe problems.
Then you could actually do like some of the things that you're talking about, but the other thing is then that's a short time frame too, where now we're talking 20 years. That's like a 5-year time frame, so you really condense your loan payments.
It's gotta be done somehow.
Yeah. And if you don't do some of that renovation, you do patchwork, and then maybe 5, 6, 7, 10 years down the road, you have to do something else, which destroys what you did for patchwork.
Well, not only that, but if you got it and do it all at once, it's gonna be cheaper than to come in, do it, then go back out, in 5 years, come back in and do something else. How you got it torn apart, it's the time to get the heating, air conditioning, electrical and the sprinklers and all that put in while they got it torn apart.
Are they gonna do
It's
the
cheap.
computer labs?
What?
Are you gonna, is that renovating the computer lab too?
Yeah, to some extent, but we're really going to more mobile labs.
Part of that being, for example, like what had been one of the tech labs is now the classroom. Mr. Ferentz here, we did that for one of the ag rooms.
And they won't.
We put like 20 laptop computers on a cart, and they can wheel it right into the classroom. We're going to that more than pulling the kids out of the classroom and taking them to the lab.
Saves more instructional time.
Saves instructional time and
Well, it gives greater
There will
variability.
still be computer lab. There's one planned in the library. And,
You know, one of the points that was made already, but it's something that we talked a lot about in our, just discussions, was if we pursue this kind of renovation practice, it's kind of a long-term, I think Marty really hit it, it's a long-range solution rather than a short-term Band-Aid being put on the deal. And, after looking at the buildings in Lincoln that this guy had done and seeing the ones that were done, the ones that were in progress versus what hadn't been started, the parts of Lincoln High School that hadn't been started were not a lot different construction-wise than what the 28 building is here. 'Cause Lincoln High was built in what?
it was a little bit early, about 10 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say about 19 or 18, something like that.
1980.
It was up on the building there, but regardless,
But a lot of the buildings were about this.
I mean, a much larger scale, of course, but when you start walking down the hallways, you see the same resemblance of, when you started talking about the columns and the walls and the plaster in between, you can really see that. Then you come back and walk through our building and you're like, oh yeah, that's what that is. So seeing that as a before, and then seeing the after of what they've done at Lincoln High and then these junior highs that were the same construction that they had already finished, you can really see that, geez, that's a nice solid, you felt like you really had something that you probably weren't gonna have to spend a lot for maintenance on it, because it was so,
And the longevity,
right.
because a lot of new construction, they give it a 30-year life. Or with a remodel, it's a lot longer.
They're saying
A building like this,
60 to
yes.
80 years, and we
Yes.
can expect out of it again, so.
one thing that we brought up that as a possibility, they said, if they keep stringing it out and, doing small sections of the school while classes are in progress and stuff, it's a little more expensive for the contractors. So we asked them to look at the possibility of building